I want to review the parallelogram law so you can complete your homework, and I'm giving an example of one of the problems, but then the procedure is very similar. So in this case, what you had to find out was, using the parallelogram law, what are the projected angles in U and V. So we have U, and so with the parallelogram law, you have your parallels, and it's supposed to be parallel. Well, let me do a better job at this. Give me a minute. I'll use thicker lines and so we have this U. So what we're going to do is draw parallel lines to U and parallel lines to V. That doesn't look very parallel. Okay. So here we have our parallelogram, and these lines are parallel, and this is V, so this also would be parallel. Okay. If we look at the angles, here is the 30-degree angle, so this here would be 30 degrees, and of course this is 70, so here we have 40, so alternate angles here would be 40. And then here, this angle here, if we look at the triangle or the parallelogram, if you have a parallelogram, what you have is 360, but for this triangle, I'm going to draw it separately here. We have here 40 degrees, we have here 30 degrees, so 180 oops, this 180 minus 70, which is the 40 plus the 30, so we have 110 degrees. So this is 110 degrees. Now remember, this here is F, and then this would be the projection of F, V, and this would be F, U. Okay? So we have a triangle that's not a right triangle, so we have to use a few of the rules. We'll use the law of sines and cosines. The law of tangents is here, but we really don't use it much. The law of sines and cosines is the ones that we'll use the most. So if you have here A, the angle opposite to A is alpha, so alpha is related to A. If you have B, then you have beta, so the angle beta is related to B. And then if you have Z, the letter C, then it's related to gamma. Okay? So whenever we look at this, sine of alpha over A, sine of beta over B, and sine of gamma over Z. And then the law of cosines, then you have A squared equals B squared plus C squared. So remember, this alpha refers to A, beta to B, and gamma to C. So let's take a look at solving this. So this was the original problem, okay? And so I have here my parallelogram that I already built. I mean the triangle from the parallelogram. Okay. So here is 30, here was 40, and here was 110. And this is F, so let's call this F, oops, sorry. This would be like an RA, okay? So then we can call this C, this is our gamma, and so this 110 would be our alpha, and then here we have B, and so 40 would be our beta. I hope that is clear. So we say A equals F, okay? And in this case, let's say that F is 200 newtons, like in this case. So the angle corresponding to that would be alpha, which is 110 degrees. Then, so that is related to A. So now let's, we said that B would be this here, which would be FU, okay? And the angle for this one, beta, is 40 degrees. And then C, which would be like our FV, okay? And gamma, which is related to C, would be 30 degrees. So now I have all of the information here. Okay, so what do I do now? I look at the law of sine and cosine. Remember, with the law of sine and cosine in your list, we have it here, sine of alpha over A equals sine of beta over B equals sine of gamma over C. Okay, we have alpha and A, so we can find B and beta and this. So we can do it in two parts. So let's just do one, since this is just a review. Sine of alpha, which is 110 degrees, and oops, over A, which is 200, would be equal to sine of 40, if we want to find B, over B. Okay, so then B would be equal to, let me not do any shortcuts, so B times sine of 110 equals 200 times sine of 40 degrees. So B would be equal to 200 sine of 40 degrees divided by sine of 110 degrees. So in this case, what we have is B equals 136.8 newtons. Okay, and this is B. Remember, it's FU. You do the same thing for FV, and so I'll give you a few minutes, do the calculation. You can pause this video, and then you should have gotten a value of C equals to 106.4 newtons. Okay, now I want to do one last check. If we look at the law of cosines here, let's do a check instead of A. Let's do a check for C. Okay, so C squared equals, so A was 200 squared plus B was 136.8 squared minus 2 times 200 times 136.8 times cosine of gamma in this case, and gamma gamma was 30. Okay, so then C equals 106.42, so our check is okay. I hope this helps. Let me just go back to this. So remember, with the parallelogram law, you draw parallel lines connecting the tip of the arrow, and that way you have two triangles. They mirror each other. These are alternate angles, and 40 and 40 here, and of course the triangle and the sum of the angles has to add up to 180. If you do the complete square, is 360. So I hope this helps. Thank you for your attention.